So I got lots of clothes on the couch right now. There we are. So it's been cool. It's been a long day, quite social for me in person as well. And these days, I'm not as used to it. I do a lot online, occasionally phone calls, and yeah, there's just been lots of correspondence. And then just like I say, a very social day. And I talked a little bit about my earlier part of the day in the previous video, and then we were at a fancy buffet meal, which was also kind of a fundraising thing for a place, and we didn't stay super long. Most of the people at our table were kind of quiet. One wasn't, and I'm going to talk with each other, and yeah, there was a lot of lead up for the food, and the food ended up getting cold because of a lot of stuff they did before, even though they were on schedule. And it really was. It was shorter than it felt like it was, and they had the heaters on, but not at the top, and that. But basically, it probably had to not in the kitchen instead of in the oven. But basically, because we got there, we got there probably at um, and I can catch that later. Um, 20 after 5, probably for 5:30, and about 6 or a little before 6, they started stuff, and we were eating by 6:30. Just it seemed like it was longer than that. Um, just quickly sending something. Somebody's I don't know what time it is where she lives. She's in the States. It can't be that late, I don't think. It's about quarter to, and he's doing his fitness thing, and he mostly on track, but a little bit behind schedule. And he'd already done his AI in his French, so um, um, I'm not usually. Um, so okay, sorry for the lighting. It's not that dark in here, but it's kind of late and it's been a long day. But I'm really struggling with something, and I mostly have acquaintances at this chapter in life, not a lot of living or local family. And I'm sure that, the viewing may also have something they might be struggling with in their life. So let's help each other. Feel free to put in the comments, you know, uh, something that you might be going through that you're trying to figure out. Um, One of the I've had like you left anyway. I like I say I have had a good day, but there's something that's up. But either came back, somebody else came back. I'm really struggling with something, which is that my mother was supposed to go in for surgery for the past 1 minute. I thought maybe I just got an email reply. Was supposed to go in for a surgery, and they they kept postponing it. But it sounded like it was going to be today. and she even said a specific time. I'm just trying to check my emails because I'm watching for that, and it was supposed to be 11:30 today, and he's dancing 11:30 today, and um, she said it was 5 hours. Like I would imagine once they and somebody not very caring, but anyway. Um, but either came back, somebody else came back. Is in. And again, this can be mutual. Supporting each other. I mean, how often? I mean, it is a theme that a lot of people have on YouTube, but honestly, I don't know. No, and part of me wants to say people are very self-absorbed on YouTube, but people are also trying to, even if it's not super obvious at first, they're trying to make positive impacts and bring light and goodness to others, and so am I. But and there is one place I could call, but I've tried a couple times now. So if I'm going to try again at all, it's going to be closer to 10:30, um, which is in about an hour. I can't guarantee I'll reach somebody at this place, this resource, and I can't guarantee it's going to be someone I want to talk to. Although, yeah, I mean, I'm especially wanting to touch base. I started the conversation with Ryan, and then also about something else, but I can't easily. I could just not be on the other line and it make them kind of wonder. But and that was being good. I can't easily say it's the wrong number if I've tried it 3 times. Could be a pocket dial, but again, 3 times. But I'm tempted. I'm tempted. One friend says they can make time for me Thursday, but I'm feeling very mixed. Um, 147. Just gonna try this for a minute here. So now that's 3 times I've tried to reach since 7:30 when we got home. But it does say, I guess it's the one I sent. Oh, it lights me up a bit better anyway. Beams me up. Give me a minute. Yeah, I don't know why when I went until I went to that tab when I went to this channel, it wasn't showing like the one from earlier today at the top. It was kind of varied. Just seeing if I can round somebody that I know to come watch. I know she says we can definitely talk Thursday, and we actually talked the other day, and she was wanting to get errands done, and she didn't. But and actually, it's someone I just recently kind of reconnected with. But anyway, there's somebody just tuned in, the only one here at the moment, and so I'm just gonna. I have something really weighing on me. Uh, so if it's not the person that was here a little while ago, basically my mother is getting a fairly serious surgery, and at 11:30 um, this morning she was supposed to get it, and then she said if she's unable to, she would get my step to email me, um, and let me know that she made it out of it okay. And truth be told, I'm not super close with either of them. I mean, I had a fallout with my mother a few years ago, but we do still talk with each other a little bit online. I did actually re get her number, and in the one phone we do still have it, the one that's on mine, but sometimes it combines contacts. And I did actually try calling, and it went to voicemail. Um, and I'm even less close with my step, and I haven't talked with him at all in the 4 years. But two things my mother recently did tell me is if something happened that even though she's not rich, she has a couple people designated to hand her will, and I would get a little bit, and that is helpful. That would be helpful for me. She also told me that she'd get home care if they ended up out of the hospital. Um, and basically, um, but yeah, she had said last night, I guess it was, that she would have my step email when, and she said the surgery was 5 hours. I mean, I would have thought, they'd focus pretty steady for like a couple hours, and that would be that. And it's a back surgery. And then I also was around somebody today who has a health condition I have, but is older and has had. I mean, she also had pneumonia and she has diabetes, and I think she said some other sort of organ issues. So I mean, but I mean, I I'm on my way to some of those things. I feel like, and let's just say she was an amputee. I know I'm kind of veering from the other topic, but that was also a part of today. Um, and and one of the things she had, which I also have, isn't doesn't really have a treatment, doesn't really have a cure. Um, and so I'm worried. Am I gonna? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't live if I'm gonna end up as an amputee. But anyway, as far as my mother, yeah, my step has not contacted. Now he may have tried to text. Um, he may have tried to text an old number. Um, and out of curiosity, uh, um, well, okay, yeah, he may have tried to text an old number, uh, but that would probably be not following mother's instructions because I think mother's instructions would have been email me. I don't know. Maybe she didn't get my email address to him and forgot that part. Um, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of living local family. Um, and I'm actually tempted. Maybe what I might do tonight, although it would be on a shared device, and technically it's the other owner of this channel, and he doesn't know. And I didn't want to worry. It's not, we don't drive. Um, you know, it is. It's a sensitive topic for us, amongst other. You know, man, some of the coincidences today were weird though, but you know, yeah, it's just, and it's gonna want to do more than, and we're not really capable of it. Plus, with the past that I've had, I feel mixed honestly because my mother, she's been she's been she did something the other day that kind of annoyed me. As we get a second viewer, welcome. But yeah, basically it's kind of like, but she's not that old, and part of me does appreciate the bit of connection that I have with her. I don't really want to go back to being, and we weren't super duper close. Like she was never someone. as a support person. If you're going through a stress, let me help you too. Put it in the comments. But yeah, but there was and maybe it's because I don't have a humongous or even that large of a social circle these days, and that might be changing soon because I'm starting to go to groups and look into things, and I might even find myself becoming more regular downtown, uh, to go to something which I usually kind of been avoiding lately. um, the other thing is that tomorrow I was going to have an intake for something at this agency, but then we both kind of realized I've kind of already done it by phone. But I'm going to go. So I don't have to give a whole lot of information. They've been really great about, when you're new to something and you're trying to figure things out. Like I wasn't the only, I think all of us were new in the group today. It was really kind of odd, actually. I hadn't expected that. When you got a condition and you're trying to figure it out, you're not necessarily going to know all that much, and and also some people go because they simply want to learn, and because of a loved one that's either living or passed. So I mean, I've given all these reasons and they seem to be accepted. So I shouldn't feel like I shouldn't be there, or like I'd be a fake there or anything like that. And yeah, I'm gonna get an answer about my own health possibly soon, because I'm gonna be getting shown how to use this. um, and it's a um, glucose sensor, essentially. And I've had it on my person for a while, and there are some complications, but just to kind of get a little sample of what it would be like to use it, and to yeah, it'll be good. And then I'm also quite happy about this. To kind of veer from the other topic, I know, but it's been like I say, quite a day. Um, the room we were in, one of the people in the group happened to mention that there wasn't really there was a gray wall, like a dark gray wall, and then white wall. So there was a feature wall, in other words, and there wasn't any art. And it's weird. I had not really noticed. Nor did I notice the echo, but I don't think she did either, because we were like almost near the end of the group before she said it's really echoing in here. I can't hear what some of what being people are saying, unless she'd been thinking, but she seemed to not be having the problem, and I would be sensitive to that, and I didn't notice it. Anywho, point of the matter being is that she had said there wasn't a lot of art on the wall. Well, not only do we have a lot of art, but we have some art, and at first I thought, oh, maybe I can't easily bike with it, but I'm going to roll it up. I already have, actually. And I'm going to then bring it, and we can lay it out flat. I have eight, which seven is the next number. Lay it flat, put something on top of it, because it's just done on paper. It's marbling, if you've ever seen that. I'd show example, but I'd have to get up, and I'm fairly comfy. Got the pillows perfect. Like I say, we were out tonight, and you can look it up. You'll see what it looks like. Anyway, basically, yeah, so they'd have to be flattened. Yeah, so when we realized I'd already done the intake a few weeks back, we said, but okay, we'll keep the appointment for this, and she's also booked me with the nurse. But as far as my mother, yeah, like I say, I'm annoyed because like 11:30, 5 hours later is not 10 at night, and I should have heard something. And the fact that I haven't, I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means, like I say, that my step texted an old phone number, which didn't receive it, because that's what he may have. Actually, at the moment, I don't even have a cell phone that can receive text. I just really have one I use for Wi-Fi. It's not on network at the moment. Um, um, and thankful that there's been, and I'm wondering if I might know one of you, because I was telling somebody that I was rolling, but thankful that there's been actually two of you here for about 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. I'll slow down and let you maybe put some comments. But yeah, it's kind of like, or he just didn't isn't following instructions, or he could be quite mad that I'm maybe not as close with my mother as he'd like us to be, but he should be happy that at least there's something, and I know that Glenn mostly is. Um, he doesn't know the history I've had with my mother, and and honestly, he's so old fashioned, so about respecting your parents, and I agree that you should, but it's a two-way street. Um, but or if he's just forgetful. Now, the truth be told, but this has been he's been like this for many years, more than that. 7. I keep thinking 7, but each other before I'd even met Glenn. So yeah, probably about 9 years they've been together, and it's only in the past 3 or 4 where he's had 2 or 3 strokes and not been able to drive. And I'm not sure if my mother's getting, but I haven't been asking for rides either. But basically, yeah, it's kind of like. And Mary, if you are watching this, and anybody who comments, maybe don't use the word mother, like the other user of this channel, and wouldn't notice unless I show the video. Works a lot and just likely wouldn't, doesn't know that this is going on. And again, like I say, it would just be very hard for him to find out about, and not feel like we feel kind of helpless in the situation. The fact that we can't just drive, the fact that yeah, having a sick relative isn't fine. Would want me to be there because my mother would need me to be there more for her. But she said she can get home care, but then somebody said that mm, that they might not help with groceries. So like, yeah, like, and a lot of the family either lives completely out of the country or at least out of the city. Um, and there's not that many of them to begin with, especially like there's been some that have passed away. So and my step is not capable. And I mean, I just, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should step up to the plate or if I should stand firm in my boundary and say, like, as long as the home care is good, and they can order their groceries online. We do it actually most of the time. Um, I don't know what to think, but I'm worried. I will say, you know, sometimes it's the title or the fact that they're a loved one, and we feel like we're supposed to love them. And I mean, she has done a lot of good for me in my life as well, and been at times a good mother. And as far as titles, like, just because someone is your parent doesn't mean that they can you know disrespect you or abuse you, whatever it is. Um, and that, and you know but yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's also fairly natural to be worried about this, and so I am. And especially when that promise was made, and yeah, like I said, we just don't have a very well connected family. I was actually, and I'm so thankful that the two of you are here and you're listening to me ramble. And so you may be thinking, oh, sometimes people just need to know that they're being listened to. Yes, and maybe I'm working through things a little bit as I'm speaking, but to truly know I'm being heard would be to hear a little bit in the comment section. But yeah, I mean, I realize I am being heard, but I feel like I need some feedback. I was actually around one of the relatives today, uh, and works with one of, I think it's a cousin, and I still remember, it was around my birthday, and in November, and we had been trying to get this their couple, and it's my step's sister and her husband. He also had a stroke, but it was fairly minor recently. We've been trying to kind of, because we used to just see them at like family events, and then with the pandemic and just family stuff, and in general we hadn't really seen them much. But yeah, basically, we'd been partly because of the birthday that was coming up, partly just the want for stronger family connections. We had kind of been intending, or and it wasn't really transpiring, and then suddenly it did. And it was just like, well, but with the awkwardness with my mother and my step, and that they know them, and who knows what they've been told, and yada yada. And this isn't really a family drama, dirty laundry. I mean, it's legit human stressor. You know, we thought, oh, we won't contact them. And so the one that gave us the number, who works at the place that was being celebrated tonight, as we're down to one viewer, was there, and he was actually just I mean, and we had most people were sitting behind us or to the side of us, but and the tables filled up pretty fast. Ours was kind of one of the last ones to fill up completely, but it was all assigned or whatever. And he was technically right behind, but I thought maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he's not that close with them either, or like then Glenn went up because, and also the boss kind of knows my step. Um, I don't know how often they talk, though. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to ask him, can you see if you can find out from either of them tomorrow? And one of them is the owner, so he'll definitely be there. The other one, I don't know how if he works every day. But can you find out? So, what do I want advice about? I mean, I don't know if I said, but I actually did try calling her too. Um, how to cope with the uncertainty of it? How to? I think because I've eaten a really big meal tonight, and I've had a bit of wine actually for the first time in a long time, and um, I've just simply had a busy day plus the heat. I'm pretty sure I'll sleep well, but like it's hard not to worry about this, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's drop-in counseling at the place, but that's mostly about the health condition and just general health. I don't know, but mental health maybe too. But I don't know if there's drop-in. I guess I could call tomorrow and find out. I forget what Rachel said her role was, other than intake. She has a couple, two or three different roles, but that's tomorrow, and I'm not a guarantee. I mean, she's a friendly person, and she'd probably hear me if I needed to express this concern, but I know that none of us really have the answer. Like, I mean, we don't know if my mother made it through the surgery. I mean, we don't. Um, if I can't reach them and I'm not hearing from any, then I can't reach them and I'm not hearing. As a second viewer or somebody came back, I'm not sure. And as far, I would love to do music tonight, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow. If you have suggestions, feel free to put them. But I'm going to be looking back at some of my old videos, um, sending them to myself in email, playing them with the speaker out of the phone, singing along with them, and kind of double tracking them up. So that'll be fun. I just have to kind of find the videos I want to do that with. But like you say, open to song suggestions, topic suggestions. I did kind of, as I was alluding to earlier, put something in place for a plan tomorrow. It's probably only going to take an hour or two out of my day though, and otherwise don't have really much planned. So yeah, I if I don't get ideas, I'll come up with some. But um, I'm just gonna put this over here because then I can move around a little bit easier. Um, I'll turn this down a little bit. It's not that it's loud, but yeah. So sorry about the mess. I was sorting through a bag or whatever. But yeah, so thoughts. I don't know if the second person was the person who was the second person for a while for most of this and left briefly, or somebody else, but you've heard at least a little bit. And the other one's here. And I don't know if you're already working on a comment, but I'd so appreciate. And then, like I say, if there's something that's stressing you out in your life, I'd like to help you out too, or try to. So I'll shut up for a moment and let you, send your comments through. I will say that, Mary, if you're watching this, uh, can you please just put the comment here, like, it's a messenger that we use. And so technically same with this channel, but he's less like, I mean, he respects privacy, when knows it's a conversation I'm having with somebody. But like I say, wouldn't, unless I show this to him, and I'm not sure if I will, isn't likely to see this. And the comments, I have them set to live chat, I believe, so that the live chat does not show afterwards. So if you're anxious about putting them, no need to be. I'll keep rolling for. It's only been 30 minutes. Wow. Um, sometimes I purposely do that. Sometimes I don't. But water's not that cold. No. Gonna go get a different water because this one water doesn't stay cold in this heat, even in the AC. It feels like, or maybe it was the one I had out. But I'll be right back. But yeah, that'll be like the third or fourth try. I really don't want to do that. Okay, I'm liking that sign. The fact that two of you are still here, even though I've stopped talking. Kind of. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what this tells me and how it works. Triggers is another topic that we've been talking about. And you both left. Well, hmm. Well, I don't know what to make of that. What I partly want to do is just play this out. But I was, oh, the person that just tuned in, were you here a moment ago? Because it just says a number and a symbol at the top. And I'm just curious. Okay, whatever. I'm going to guess that means not. I know, it's kind of a weird thing to hear as soon as you just tune in, but I have my reasons. Like, I don't want to repeat. Well, even if they weren't, I don't want to repeat. It hasn't been super long, but yeah, I don't think I'm going to be reaching somebody on this call. So, just a moment. Yeah, I should remember to breathe. So I just went through a whole spiel. Um, just a moment. Oh wow. Okay, one of you might be married, but yeah, I don't know how to explain it. You were saying you don't know how to do the live chat. I mean, I'm seeing it on the right hand side. I don't know. I don't remember. I think you said you were using a cell phone. Let me see. Email. You can email it to me. That's fine. Because actually, I know that I tried to look up yours the other day and I couldn't find it. But I know that we have each other's email, so that would be a preference. But if the other person here has heard the spiel, you don't have to be specific about who I was talking about. But it feels weird to call it a spiel. But if you could give some input, that would be. There is a part of me that, again, it's not that I had a terrible mother, but she did say and do some things in my adult life which I can't forgive, and sometimes I'll think to myself, why am I talking to her again? Oh yeah, because she's my mother, and because well, even though her apology was very very late coming, and maybe was a little bit forced or contrived, about some things, she she does seem to be a bit more mellow and a bit more. Again, this is like all over, digital communication, um, which is kind of the preference, with her. But it's kind of like, I don't know. She doesn't seem to be stirring the pot as much. I guess you could say she's. I will notice. I will say that I notice that sometimes she seems a little bit aloof or dense. Um, hate to say it, but it is kind of true. Um, and I'm so glad. And one of you I might know, I think maybe came back, or maybe was no, because I think for a while that, yeah. Anyway, I'm so glad. I don't know how else to explain it because I'm not seeing your device, but once you learn it, you'll know it, and it's pretty simple. Also, you might more likely see it after the fact, but no, email's better, I think. But to the person who's watching who doesn't have that option of reaching out to me, likely, I'm thinking here works. Um, I guess it's that feeling of losing the good that we do have with each other, my mother and I, and losing my other parent, um, is scary. I guess is um, making me feel uneasy. You know, um, I don't even know if I'd say hello, kind of Michelle. Maybe I don't know. I just kind of blurted that out. I don't know if I'd say that I have, and I try to think I'm going to think for other things, but I don't know if I'd say that I have a, as we get a third viewer, well, a someone who, well, but then if I'm thinking, who do I have in my life that's like a father? I mean, kind of the first one I do think of is a little bit kind of Glenn, because nobody else really at this point. But like I say, I'm going to be starting to go into, I don't know. And as far as like a mother, I was talking about someone I think in the earlier video today. I'm not really in a lot of contact with her. I knew her through an agency that she works at that I don't go to anymore for various reasons, mostly my own choice. And, she's done a couple things. She's done a couple things which I have had a hard time getting past. Should I say? Maybe. You know, as long as I don't have too much of a sore throat or whatever tonight and can get to sleep. And what did I do with that muscle rub? It's over here somewhere, I believe. Or did I bring it upstairs now? Anywho, we have three people here. So I've just been kind of opening up about, I want that stuff. I don't, maybe I did bring it back upstairs, about some stuff I'm going through. But no, I mean, maybe I should share, because if I could get past these things, then, but still, this agency has two different sections, and she works on the one where if you call her, she'll talk to you if she's not super busy for a few minutes, but she really will suggest that you call the other line, and that she's not actually on shift working, and rarely is. A little bit during the pandemic, and she'll say, "Oh, everybody there is great," but no, some are stupid or just unprofessional. I mean, and I'm laid back. I'm laid back, but I mean, I'm still feeling it. Um, but uh, basically, well, as I'm, medium. Sure, she hadn't mentioned her mother very often, but her mother let me know that she passed away, and I knew that she accepted my ability and thought that it was a beautiful thing or whatever, and hadn't heard a lot about it honestly, but knew that I don't even remember how I first shared it. Probably talking about my first experience. I have no idea. Anywho, and it's a place where a few people can stay for a few days. Not really a rehab, just a kind of they sometimes have called it a detox, but you don't have to be detoxing from anything. You can just be needing support or whatever. But there's various reasons between the routine I have these days, the tinnitus, that means I have to sleep to music that would disturb other people. Some people I might be avoiding there, having a dog, living with somebody who has a health condition that has to be monitored, not being able to go there during the day and come back and sleep at night. Um, they said, I think it was suggested that I could just go for 2 or 3 days instead of five. I'm not sure if I feel better about that. Anyway, point of the matter is that so she there was nobody else really there. I think it wasn't a full house and or a full um, amount of guests staying there, and one or two of them were out somewhere at the time, and it kind of came up, and she was not willing to really venture it. I just felt like she wasn't really supporting it. She wasn't being curious. I mean, it is true. And are you watching down? Like, we have three people who have been here almost constantly. Don't be shy. I'd love to hear from you. Should say how you know my mother, right? But um, the other time I went there, I was going to stay for a few days, um, and my clock did my cell phone time did not match the time they had in the unit. And there was another lady working there who was a bit of a bitch, and she um, so I had called and I think I said I'm early. They said, okay, just wait up front. That may have happened. It's true. I can't remember entirely, but it may have. But then it was like 2 minutes to. A couple other people went in. It's a buzz in kind of place, but I was able to kind of get in with them. I said, I got in with somebody. I'm at the end of the hall. So I start coming, you know, down the hall, essentially. No, you come right there. And she came with this other lady, the one who is really motherly, and part of me wonders if it's because she says sweetie and honey and dear and all this and that. But I mean, my mother doesn't really that much, you know. Um, Anywho, and she kind of let the other one do the talking, but they said they weren't going to let me stay for that few days because I hadn't followed instructions. Yeah, know. And I don't know if she would have let it slide because she was a bit closer with me and it was a small thing, but her coworker wasn't going to, and she was going to support her coworker essentially. The only other thing that happened, and I haven't said her name and I haven't said the place really, is that one time I'd went to and now down to one viewer. One time I'd went to a food bank, and it was actually interesting. This very posh thing we were at tonight. We got one free ticket. I don't know if I'd say it was $80 worth, but you got free wine, a good meal, um, and somebody actually bought us 10 raffle tickets, and he kept saying, "I'll buy tickets," and then win their money out, and kind of like, oh, and then one lady who was selling tickets, she said, "If someone offers you to buy you tickets, you say yes." I've never been to a 50-50 raffle. The only kind I've ever been to is where you get tickets and you go and you drop them in the ones you want. Um, but anywho, so basically, and then there was like one freebie for the whole table. One freebie for each person at the table, and it was a different color. In fact, there was like four different colors, and that I started to get really confused. But anywho, so but we weren't able to stay the whole time, so put the initials on the back of all of them. We were joking, but what GH might stand for, uh, Grand Honcho or something like that. Anywho, and said, we have to get home to the garden and the dog, and um, and catch a bus and this and that. Um, and the bus ride was kind of funny because I had to wait a while. I knew I would, but I just didn't feel up to walking. And it finally came. You know, it was like 15 minutes down the street. Then it said, "Oh, do you turn on to this street?" His answer was at first, I don't know if his English wasn't good or whatever, was at first not really clear. And then I said, "Yes, but I'm going to crash here for a bit." And after a moment, I realized he was saying he was going to take a little rest on his shift. So I got out and walked, and I was walking for about 5 or 10 minutes, and he comes along, and I could tell he was actually going to take me down the rest. And I only was had like two or three short blocks left to go at this point. But I hopped on, and they started to wear masks, and the buses were very warm. I'm glad I don't have to take them often, and all the windows were open, which was actually letting in the warm air. But yeah, this weird contraption I was had a mask. But anyway, yeah. So basically, that was a bit of a tangent about this evening. Oh, but yeah, I saw somebody from an old food bank I used to go to. Um, and I'll have to find out. Actually, the hamper might be tomorrow at this other place. It might be. I should. I have to remember to find that out. I'm gonna make a little note as we get a second viewer. Welcome. But yeah, basically, she didn't see me. Her and her husband had came in. I was coming out of the washroom. They were down a little bit, but I suddenly recognized them. I went back and said, "Oh, somebody I'm not." But you know what? Like, and I had stopped going to that location. Um, somebody there was a bit of a misunderstanding, and it just became awkward. And the truth of the matter is, even though I saw some of these same people, and really, I mean, like some of the main volunteers weekly, um, sometimes twice a week, because they did a dinner night thing too every week, pretty much. Um, I, I never really thought about it until even after actually a while since I had been able to go back there. And yeah, if you're, yeah, I'd still like to know how to process this thing about my mother. But anyway, um, that I really only knew them in passing. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Sometimes a little bit more in depth, but honestly, more in depth with some of the people I used to see there, like that weren't volunteers. And um, so because I saw them so often, they seemed so familiar to me. I thought, oh, they know me. Why are they misunderstanding me this way? Blah blah. But they really didn't, and they had to take a precaution, but really they didn't. But they felt that they did, and I have to respect that. Anywho, so but basically, luckily, I don't know where they were sitting, but there was like 400 people at tables of 10. They were huge tables, with their salad bowls. And so as we get a second person, they were kind of far in. But I thought, how ironic to see somebody who knew me as a food bank patron, a food bank patron versus patronize. That's where the word is different. Some people would say I patronize your business, but I'm a patron of your business. Patronizing is a negative thing. Am I right? Anywho, that know me from this food bank and community meal program that essentially I should still be benefiting from, but whatever. Um, and here I am at this thing that cost $80 for a ticket. But again, that was very rare. We got one free ticket, and it's nice to go to nice things sometimes. Like I say, I don't feel like I do it very often. But yeah, so but back to this other lady for a moment, because when I think of who's like a mother to me, honestly, again, I kind of feel like she's the only one I think of. But again, there is somebody that I've fairly recently met, but gotten fairly close with fairly quickly. I don't know what she'd think of it, and if she doesn't want me to think this, I won't. Uh, but we're both on the autism spectrum. We get each other, and I've said that. I don't. Sometimes I think that it's really, my writing style, for instance, is nothing to do with autism spectrum. Some people would say it is, um, but we both are on. I didn't know that. I just knew about her daughter a little bit, but so maybe it makes sense. Anywho, um, and basically, I could say her, but other than that, at the moment, either because I'm tired or because there isn't, I can't think of. But it's interesting to think of why, and it's not just like I say because she says honey, sweetie, yada yada. But it's interesting to think that that's kind of why, and the fact that like mine doesn't say that. and it seems like a motherly way to talk, but actually, I mean, I guess I don't know a lot of people's mothers. I do know someone who passed away whose mother has for a month now been 105. I don't see her very often, and she's obviously got Alzheimer's and health issues, right? But um, I want to get this device back up there soon, and before he comes down and thinks, "Why are you talking about such and such?" Um, but the only other thing I have against this person, and if one of the viewers that's being kind of quiet and anonymous is this person, you know, and if it's not, just no, it's not. But again, I haven't said the agency, I haven't said the person's name, and I really do appreciate you as a person. As do with the viewers, and I hadn't planned to get this long. I really do appreciate, the type of work you do, the type of person she is. Um, there's a part of me that kind of feels like saying she gives some people too much, for lack of a better way of putting it, credit. Like I nobody thinks everybody's absolutely wonderful and great and delightful and beautiful and all that. I think a lot of people are, even though I know a lot of people aren't. But she just, yeah, I mean, she'd rather focus on somebody's positives and strengths, and that's not a bad thing. But I'm gonna have to put 34. It looked lower than that. But I can't remember. There was one other. But anyway, and I certainly appreciate it. And sometimes one isn't feeling a whole lot of that from other people. So I mean, at times in life. So it's better than not being that way, I suppose. But one time, yeah. So I'd gotten something I didn't look closely at from a food bank, and I this was many years ago, and I brought it back. I looked at it. I think I was planning to have it for my lunch, uh, and then I thought, no, actually, I'm not going to like this. I said, does anybody want it, or I'll just put it in the freezer? Because I didn't want to waste it. Like we saw somebody waste one chicken skewer tonight, and I thought, but I mean, I guess if you're full, you're full, or if you didn't like it, but you got to hope that some creature or a homeless person might be dumpster diving and find it. But basically, this was a frozen entree, right? And so, you know, and it's an agency, and they can be particular, and they had a bed bug policy. Now we're down to one viewer. So she said, no, I need you to take that out to the dumpster and get rid of it. So I brought it back. She said, did you get rid of it? And honest me said, well, I put it on the bench beside. Or like this, it is actually quite close. But I mean, lots of benches are near garbage, I guess. But most people don't have a good sniffer or carried with the wind or whatever. But no, there's the fence on the other side of it. In fact, coming from the garden side of the church near it, you can actually see the bench and see if you recognize it. Instead of coming the other way, and then you kind of have to peek around or whatever. But anyway, so I said, no, I put it on the bench. Well, you need to go back out and put it in the dumpster completely. Come on, Cor, she says. And I think I did. Um, and there was a couple other people in the dining room too, and I don't remember them saying much. Which might mean they agreed with me and didn't want to disagree with her. But they're just hyper paranoid, you know. And I just thought, come on, like, you're so stupid, in this incident. Other than that, lovely, you know. But it can be hard to look past those things sometimes. And again, I don't have close contact with her, and I really only know her through her workplace. And when she's at her workplace, she's sometimes too busy doing other stuff. So anyway, Glenn's come down, and they're from this channel, and he's going to be playing some piano. I'll maybe let you hear a little bit of it, but I got to get this back upstairs because it's 30%. But it's actually holding better than I thought. So I'm not sure if it's Mary that's still viewing. Feel free to say yes in the way that you can, and I look forward to hearing from you in the way that I suggested. If you can't figure out the chat, or if it's somebody else, so I need to slow down. I've said as much as I feel I can until I hear from you. Um, so I'm just kind of situating and creating some ambiance by the piano, and then we'll play some, and I'll wait and see if you might comment. And as I like to say, because I'm so nice, um, if there's anything that you're going through, you'd like to ask advice about, put it in the comments as well. I know I can't be the only YouTuber that says it, but at the same time, there's maybe not many, so you've lucked out tuning into this one. You're not Tashay, Mary? Takay? And he'll be starting the piano momentarily. So we're doing it. Wow. Oh, wow. It's now showing a symbol with this 28. That's still not that low. You got to post it the right way. You're not going to get much piano because I didn't bring the charger down, partly because I didn't want to be too long. That worked. And yeah, I was watching one of my videos earlier today. I said I just wanted to do something for a few minutes. 40 minutes later, it happens. Sometimes it surprises me that happens, like after the day that I've had today. But you know what? At the same time, eating good can energize you. Having a good day can kind of energize you. But my goodness, I'm ready for sleep soon. um, yeah. I'm glad I have a bit of a plan tomorrow. And then I'm going to talk with my friend Thursday. Oh, tomorrow's Wednesday? Yeah, well, the thing will have just finished by then, and the viewer left. So, and I guess I didn't want your piano. Just kidding. But there were some long viewerships from 2 or 3 different people. Anyway, it shouldn't be whatever about it in here. But yeah, and then just the other Friday, and then the weekend, and then it must be close to 28th. The thing is on the 27th. That's the day before the 28th. The next group, and then I'm ready to get back with another group. So yeah. Okay, well, I'm a little bit paranoid that this is gonna die before it's super duper low. So nobody's here anyway. So, but you know what? It's a channel we both use. He's not on it very often, so it's a laptop. Thing is, I would hate for somebody to tune in and just get into it, and then I wrap up. So, really happy for you to comment on the stuff. Yeah, it was a good bet that you didn't have us before today. I mean, most of them only knew of them, but they said, "Oh, you're gonna get up and play the keyboard? Are you gonna perform?" They took the piano out of the place. A few people said that would have been lovely. We were sitting around music appreciators, which is a lot of people, but some people. One of the people in the band that was there, I think, was someone that I'm glad he didn't notice. I mean, he wasn't sitting near us, and he was performing, or he stood there, looked like he was praying for food. Okay, gotta get this plugged in, as it became an exact hour. somebody that just tuned in, I don't think it's Mary back. Unfortunately, I've been rolling for a while. I got to get the device plugged in, and the charger's upstairs. So at least I know she heard. And yeah, I don't know what to feel about getting people. They stayed, but they for a while, but didn't say anything. It's like I thought heard, but not really fully. So while I'm going upstairs, man, it's warm in here. Take you for a journey upstairs, and then I'll wrap this up. Now I'm thinking of Linda. That was a very powerful video. If you guys would like to see me channeling, sorry for the movement in the light, but gotta plug this in. Got two of you here. Yes, I had a very impactful video. That mentions the name Linda in the title, and one of the things, I should be holding this with two hands. One of the things was that she kind of expressed love for the viewers, like in a, like, you know, she almost made it her damn podcast. No, she in spirit, she did this exercise that I didn't hugely need and didn't expect, where she was kind of like Dal. She was saying, you know, how, you know, you're beautiful and love the, sorry about the lighting, love the person that you see in the mirror or whatever. And then somebody was here, but they didn't stay at that time. So they didn't know that she was actually about to say, and same to the person who's watching, you know. And I thought that's really cool for her to do that. But, and two of you are still here. I don't know if I'm familiar with either of you or not. I'm going to wrap this up, but I do welcome you to watch back as much as this as you can, as many sections as you want to, and put comments, like I say, about the stuff near the beginning and the health stuff. If you can be just anonymous as far as that situation you're going through, blah blah blah, but not be, just in case, because you might get notified of the comments, true enough. But no, I'd really appreciate it. Part of me thinks, don't, you know, she doesn't deserve my brain because she's been a bitch to me at times in my life. But part of me thinks she's also been really good at times in my life, which is my so it was just that the plants have been getting a lot of kind of dead leaves. I forget what he calls this kind of plant. The really long strip leaves, and they've been I mean, I wasn't super chatty tonight, so I had the energy. But same with the one outside. I think it's the same thing, but this is much taller. You want to see what I'm talking about? See the kind of the beige that's not supposed to be that way, right? So I've been doing aesthetic work on plants. It's kind of nice. It's kind of fun. It's like giving a plant a haircut and caring for something, right? So it's kind of nice. You know, and it shows the appreciation by looking better, even if it's briefly. Anywho, gotta go. Thanks for watching. Don't be shy, and feel free to check out some of the other content too. Any titles that intrigue you, watch again as much as you can. Comment when you feel, and I hope that they resonate, impact, inspire, uplift, perhaps at times entertain. But it's true. A lot of times, you know, the topics that I cover are a little bit more serious. It's really warm up here. I'm thinking I'd like to do more mental health topics. So if you have any ideas, let me know. And it's also, you know, just sharing, you know, my abilities that I have that bring me healing and might bring other people healing. So, yeah. And sometimes it's very random stuff, you know. But so, as the second person tunes in, I'm very sorry that I'm just wrapping this up. I hope you will check out this channel, whether you have before or haven't. And I know sometimes the videos are a bit long. none of them are over. I mean, I've heard of some people that do like almost 2 hour videos, but but again, as much as you're able to, and some of them are shorter. I'm not going to force you, but I'd love it if each of you, aside from this one, um, what you catch of it or what you go back and look at in the next week or two or so. That's a good time frame, I think. In the next week or two, came and watched a little bit of one of the other videos and commented in kindness, you know, your thoughts. I have kind of just been relaunching this channel lately, and at times it's quite quiet, but I think I'm putting out good content, and so I'd like some feedback. It's amazing. And one of the reasons I think that it's so quiet sometimes is that there's just a lot on YouTube. And I could a lot of my videos, although there is a capacity, I've discovered a lot of my videos could be in somebody's watch later or open tab that they're meaning to get back to it. And I understand life happens and the internet is real good at showing us things. And if you're suggestible and you have interest in a lot of stuff or whatever, like me, it's like, okay, I want to do this. I open up a tab to do this, and it starts showing me other stuff. So then I'm wandered off from, and it happens. And so there's possibly some people out there who do intend to engage a bit more, and it just hasn't happened yet. But yes, I'd like you to try and make a effort to, or a note to do so. I'd love to engage with you. I'd love to get to know my viewers and how my content is reaching them and what they'd like to see. And I'm very adaptable and all that stuff to like I'm pretty diverse. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm sure that yeah. But anyway, gonna start unwinding and getting ready for bed soon. So I appreciate the person that is indicated as the second viewer in here. I don't know if you've seen some of this earlier or just came back, but you've been here for about 15-20 minutes. I appreciate it. The other one of you I might know on another platform, but no, I really appreciate you guys being here, hearing me out, obviously liking what you're hearing and seeing. Stay tuned for more of it. Have a good night. Good day.